Believe it or not, there comes a time in your life when you begin to realize that you're not special. You begin to accept the fact that you're never going to be randomly isekai'd into the life of a rich kid, or be able to do anything skillful whatsoever. So your dreams of becoming the main character slowly begin to fade away. That's why when you begin to grow up, you start to think, you know what, these side characters, they're the real ones. But this is a segue. That's why I always found myself relating more to the socially inept, stick to themselves, black hair growing moody for the sake of moody being side characters more. And that's because they're the ones that are more real and more relatable than the screaming and shouting, hyped up and magic dust main characters that all just seem to be built different. What side characters did to an extent was simple. They built a circle of support around the main character to such a point where if you didn't like one, you had anywhere between 2 and 10 others to fall back on. The whole idea of being the character in the show where you could look cool, impact the story, have your moments, be cooler than the main character but never ultimately overtake them was the best thing, and really to this day still is the best thing. The whole purpose of the main character to an extent is to have a central figure that I can all come back to. Make them share a struggle with the viewer or reader. Have them show enough humanity so that we can see that they are inherently good, but don't let it dictate everything that they do so that their actions become predictable. Then give them 1 or 2 likable traits and immediately you can cast a net across a vast percentage of the shonen protagonists that we've seen to date. So in the end, our main character template usually looks simple, but it has to do enough to be liked, generate some emotion and be of enough interest so that they aren't overshadowed by the supporting cast. Which really sounds a lot easier than it is. Why? Because it's fucking hard to pull it off and please everyone but at the same time be different than the ones that came before you. But that's the thing, if you're a teenager watching JoJo and you see these thick, juicy, beefed up teenagers with personalities as diverse as a stone wall, it's likely that these types of characters will be very hard for you to look to and think, yeah, totally understand what you're going through. Yeah, you probably enjoyed the series and took things out of it, but it was more likely that the impact of Naruto getting bullied or Gon's dad being a piece of shit would have more effect on you because those are very much real things that we feel, have experienced or are trying to get through. And that relatability is the core factor that anime has in its storytelling that helps and make it unique among other forms of media. And yeah, I've probably already said it a lot in the first part of this video, so get ready for me to not shut up about it for the next 8 minutes or more. I need the watch time. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe or someone's going to come into your house tonight and tickle you while you sleep. Again. I don't know who it is, but it's just for your own safety. We're going to look at Shounen because that's where my underdeveloped and childlike brain video title and what the majority of the anime community knows best. The modern Shounen generation and the goals of the protagonist has vastly shifted from the grand and seemingly unreachable goals of the past. Yuji he wants to have people around him, Deku wants to help people, Denji wants... Okay, so we don't really know what Denji really wants. But I'm going to use these 3 examples of the most relatable and real, not realistic, current shonen protagonists. And that's also not to say that any of the old gen are unrelatable, it's more to say that what they want to become and drive towards is so grand and out of this world that is distinctly a part of that era. While loud superhuman humans is one of the most not normal things that you can say that you managed to find relatable, this current batch of 5'5" wrecking balls we are seeing pop up are more grounded and easier to relate to, with there being a major shift in the sort of goals that they are trying to achieve. Wanting to be Pirate King has moved to wanting to be at the same level as everyone else, in a world where the vast majority are so different and far ahead of you that you need to work twice as hard just to catch up. As well as something as easy to understand as trying to find your dad taking a bit of a break because you realise he's most likely a tit. And there's only one tit you care about now. The whole concept of Deku, of what he is and what he stands for as a protagonist, carries a lot behind it when you first meet him. As you know, due to him having no quirk means that even if he were to work as much as he could, he would still be left with an exploding tsundere screaming and the shattered dreams knowing that he will never be able to compete due to this defect. And that's why for me, Deku has one of the best messages behind him. That sometimes opportunities aren't gifted to everyone equally and that as a result you have to figure out how to deal with it in the best way that you can. And if consuming random things that this strange man gives you makes you feel better, then that's your own choice. And remember, sharing is caring, so even if it's expensive, spread it around. Oh yeah, and stay in school. The way Deku strives to be perfect adds how relatable he is. By this insecurity and the goals he sets for himself and recklessly trying to follow in All Might's footsteps is something that I was actually able to look to and think that while he's becoming more of a nuclear Mike Tyson, can't last 2 minutes in my world, bitch, that he still lives with all these flaws inside of his mind that continue to affect him in the pursuit of his goals. But conversely, the moment when Deku starts to fall off and lose relatability was when he begins to get these oh my god moments of realization. That then leads to him learning more about his own ability, rather than it coming into him in these moments where he's put under pressure and has to think on his feet. Moments that at the start of the series seemed to be his way of gaining an advantage over everyone else. All of a sudden he goes from having to deploy and use tactics to figure out what to do, to the solution for a lot of his problems becoming to spam smash again and again and again. But then again, that's every shonen MC that doesn't have a sword or a chainsaw. How is this shit still sold out? Wait a minute, am I forgetting something? Oh shit, Yuji! This is where Itadori Yuji comes in. If any teenager could take those fingers the way he does, then your search history would be an even more disgusting place. But the raw honesty, impact and emotion that he delivers allows for him to fill in some of the holes that Deku leaves behind him. His lack of the knowledge Deku has or had results in these scenarios where while he is a driving force and actively pushing forward, he doesn't know anything. He's still merely a passenger on the grander scale of these events that are going on around him. He comes into this world as an outsider and lives in it with his knowledge of what is going on around him, usually being no better than whoever's beside him or inside him. He needs and very much wants the people that are with him to always be there with him. That's all he wants. It's understandable, yet is made all the more painful when one of those people is ripped away from him. And sometimes things just get so out of hand beyond his control that the only thing he can do is collapse. And yeah, while the character shown emotion is nothing new, Yuji just does it in this way that feels so much more powerful and real than most others in Shounen. As a character, he just conveys and carries these emotions so much better than most of his counterparts. These emotions he shows are ones that we all feel at some stage. Whether we're just completely distraught with fear or just don't want to let go of people, we're all familiar with these things, which then is what makes it more powerful when we see these reactions from him. And to accompany all of this, his goals are once again very grounded in reality. He wants to be surrounded by people and being able to help those people around him. As much as the premise of his character and how the things around him affect him are completely alien to us, it ultimately comes back to not being able to control your own life and save the people around you that becomes the reasons why we can look at him as not just the main character of a series, but as a person with their own struggles. And this is where clinically insane titty lover comes in. Denji will put anything in his mouth. I mean literally anything. Hey yo, what's up with shonen authors wanting to put things inside of teenagers? Anyway, believe it or not, this adds an innocence to his character, but also reminds us that this is someone who's been damaged to such an extent in his life that while it is partially thrown in as a gag in the story, it also pulls us back to where he's come from and how much he has gone through. Compared to Deku and Yuji, Denji is very much the same. As in up to the point we meet him, he has no overly special trait that has him lined up for a steady job in the future. We just happen to be introduced to him at a time when his life is going from the worst possible situation to an even darker, more sinister one with every door he goes through. Where Deku and Yuji both have a common goal, or yeah, I really can't think of another word, that involves him being selfless to an extent and prioritizing people, Denji really comes in and just sets everything straight. He just wants to live in a better place, have some proper food, have someone in his life that actually cares for him. With him just wanting to catch a break and live a better life and enjoy the regular things. There are times in the story when he explicitly says that he doesn't care about anyone else. That even though people are dying around him, he doesn't feel any remorse or any truly negative emotion. Everything he does is for himself to ensure that nothing gets in the way of him doing what he wants to do. And holy shit, is this refreshing. For once, just once, it's actually nice to see a character putting themselves first. Well, kind of. It's one of those things that you rarely see in anime and manga, but the simple nature of what it is what makes it feel so good. But then again, the messy and traumatic past kind of helps, but it's just a nice change of pace to see a character actually act different and be somewhat selfish for once. His actions, the way he goes about doing things, and his reactions to the most normal of situations brings him even closer to home than Yuji. A place where main characters are now at a point that they are truly reflecting real things, and the reality of the people reading it. Simple things like finally being able to see him eat some cake somehow ended up being one of these moments where it feels like everything has been wrapped up and served in the best possible way to do so.
And now, here comes the biggest curveball of the modern anime era!
Not really.
Modern anime era!
Well, not really. Mob is different. How? Because while most main characters have their trademark slapping you in the face every other minute, Mob's entire list of aspirations is to just be normal. Also like Deku. Yeah, but not really. If Denji shows us impulse and desire, Mob shows us struggle. Mob just wants to move past the issues that plague him from being able to integrate into society, putting aside the things that make him stand out because ultimately he does not want to be defined by it. And once again, this just hits different. It feels that Mob goes so much further than any of the other shonen characters we talked about because at one point in our lives, we've all known someone that had something that defined them, that they themselves don't want to be known for. At one point or another, we've had times when anxiety and fear has ruled over our choices, preventing us from having any courage to stand up for ourselves or live freely. While shonen main characters have traditionally had something going on with them that's created a link to us, Mob hits home so much more. Characters usually struggle with learning how to be a hero, how to beat a villain, or I don't know, just put some random shit in here. Most of Mob Psycho spent watching him trying to be a normal person, trying to be a good brother and not lose control. Yeah, there's flashing lights and powers and shit in it, it's anime. It's not going to be this huge groundbreaking transformative piece, but it just does it good. And when the private and personal side of characters has largely been second to whatever else is going on, having these flips does so much more to connect with the characters that in the end it just makes for a far more impactful storyline. I love the direction that Shounen protagonists are heading in. They seem to be getting more of a seinen edge to them, dealing with problems that are largely based in them and in their society, but still keeping a hold of everything that's always made them what they are. Characters are slowly becoming more and more like real people. Yeah, most of them are still stupidly overpowered demigods, but that's what Shounen is built on, and nobody would pay attention if that part wasn't there. Seeing someone, regardless of it being in real life or in fiction, and being able to relate to it for me and many others is something that helps so much. Seeing a character's optimism on screen and how they never waver, regardless of the amount of struggle that they endure, has an effect on you that's just positive. And yeah, struggle has always been there, but to now see it in so many different avenues in a series, be it through mental health or just being dealt a shitty hand, takes it to a new level. Oh yeah, remember to subscribe, or did you already forget what happened the last time?